Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This video is part 2 of AUPAIR AFFAIRS video that I did with my host mom. And I just want to add this quick intro because I'm still editing the video and I realized that I lost about 5 to 10 minutes of the video in between the first part and the second part. I don't know what happened. It's fine. But I lost about 5 to 10 minutes of the video. So the video that you're about to watch now, which is part 2, it starts very abruptly. So I don't want you guys to be like, what is happening? So yeah, in this video, just to give you context, because it starts like so just to give you context, we were talking about the profile setup. I cannot remember exactly how we got on this topic. We were talking about the profile setup, and as you get into the video, I talk about what my profile looked like, and then just to give you, I don't know what they call it, but just to give you the whole picture of the video, But yeah, we start talking about profile setup, and then we also talk about how we met, our interviewing stage, questions that we asked and stuff like that, and what stood out for me. Did she talk about what stood out for her? I don't think she did. Maybe, I don't know. You watch the video and you tell me. And then towards the end of the video, we talk about questions for au pairs to ask host families and questions for host families to ask au pairs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed editing it. I enjoyed making these 2 videos for y'all. I hope you guys find them helpful. Please do comment down below and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My profile was set up in a way where like I was so desperate to leave, and this is most au pairs. Like, guys, I know you want to leave so bad, and I know you're gonna be like, oh, now that you're here. No, I changed it up before I got here. I was like, I can do 4 kids. I was like, I don't mind pets.
You would have died. You hate pets.
I was talking to this family. They had a cute German Shepherd. I was like, that's fine. You know, I'm scared of dogs.
German Shepherd?
Yes.
They are huge.
I like, it's fine. I did tell them I was scared of dogs, but I was like, we can work around it.
And you can't work around it.
We would not have been able to work around it because I cannot. The way I'm so scared of dogs, y'all. Yeah, I had my profile for the first time set up in a way where I was like so desperate to go. And thank God for COVID. I hated it, but like, thank God, because during that time, I also went into like prayer and fasting, and it's like, is this like, what's happening? Why don't you want me to go? And I feel like God was like, girl.
Because you're doing the most and not enough.
Right. So I had to change my profile, rewrite my whole letter. And I think there was a part on my letter too where I was like, if you are a family that sees your au pair as just an au pair, like, I'm not the person for you, which is also like kind of scary for me, because it's like, why would you even say that? You know? But that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted a family that's gonna see me as part of their family, and it was important for me to like say everything that I wanted, as much as it was gonna sound some type of way to other families. I guess that's why I didn't get any connections.
But I actually like that you said that. I was like, I feel like you have to be honest on your profile, because the right family will really resonate with it, will like it, will appreciate it. I was like, oh, she's a little snarky. I like it. Like, I read your letter. I was like, oh, she has a little spunk to it. And that really resonated with me.
So I didn't get any connections. I had to go on Facebook. Yeah. No, I asked a question on the
that was your question?
Connect. I can't remember.
Well, I'm just remembering. Not remembering. I never knew that was you that asked the question. I just thought it was. I swear to God.
We are not getting into my Facebook name.
All I'm gonna say is this is a moment for me that I'm like, oh. So yes, I responded to a question on Facebook.
I was like, hey, I'm looking.
And she slid in my DMs, and I was like, hey girl, what's up?
That's when we started talking, and then we exchanged. I sent her my profile ID, and she was able to send me a request, and then that's when I read the profile and everything. So I was very, like, it stood out for me when she was asking questions about like me and not like, what can you do for me? Like, it was a lot of, like, she showed a lot of interest in, like, me as a person as opposed to me as an au pair. And I was like, okay. Okay.
I see you, girl.
I had spoken to other families as well. And I'm new to the process, and they ask all these questions. And to me at the time, it's like, oh, these are really good questions. And it's like, this is what you're going to be doing. How can you help us do this? And I was like, yeah, I can do this. I can do that. And when you have a different experience with someone else, it's like, okay, let's do this.
Okay. Just for context, I only interviewed 2 au pairs. Not even. Wait, I only talked live to only to me. I talked to another au pair via through Facebook. So I would also say, like, au pairs, like, don't be afraid to use Facebook. Don't be afraid to slide in people's DMs. Like, seriously, I was like, oh, cool. She reached out, and I was like, hey, girl, what's up? And then I looked at her profile, and I liked her letter, the new letter. I liked the letter, and I was like, oh, she seems interesting. Like, she seems cool. Like, would love to talk to her. Because, I mean, I was looking for also, like, a personality fit. It's like, who has a good personality fit? I really didn't want somebody, like, super quiet, like, some whatever. So did that, and she was persistent with following up. And for me, I was like, oh, if this is how she operates, this is going to be helpful to me. I spent a lot of time wanting to know about, like, who she was, because she was going to be here. And again, it's not just somebody for my kids, but it's like, oh, like, who are me and my husband going to drive with and have a good time with, and, like, who can we introduce to friends and those sorts of things beyond the program.
For questions to ask your potential host families, Google is your best friend. If you just type on Google, like, questions to ask host families, future host families, you'll get like 1,000 of questions. But these are like a few other questions that I did ask. The one method that I also use was read what's on your family's profile and ask them questions about that. Even if something is clear, like, just to show that you read the profile, be like, hey, I saw this on your profile. Can you please break this down for me? Just to show that you're really interested and you really did read the profile.
But actually, I remember she sent me a message one day, and she was like, I use the word dope all the time. And she pulled it out of my profile. And now I'm learning it's a trick. But she said it in a message to me, and I was like, oh, I see you, sis. Because it's not even like manipulation. It's just like, you're savvy. You're smart. Yeah. I dig it. So
that shows even when you get the schedule, you're going to be able to read and be like, hey, what's happening? And this is a list. Also, this is a list that I came up with now that I'm here. I've had this experience with these people and kind of I know better. So my one thing, top 5 here, is ask them about them as people. Like, who are you? What do you guys do? What does your day-to-day life look like? Just ask them about them. And number 2, parenting style and discipline methods. Because
what you trying to say?
No, I'm saying as somebody who comes from South Africa, it's very different. Like, we have like sometimes like you don't even reprimand a child. It's just like, and they know. One thing that was very different for me here was like understanding that kids are seen and heard. Because with us, it's like, it's not like that. So ask about the parenting style and discipline methods so that you can also prepare yourself, and especially when you come from a culture that has different disciplinary methods or parenting styles. And also ask about routines. I know some families do include it on their profile. They had it on their profile as well, times and everything. But a question around that would be like, I know you said I'm going to do like 9 to 5. What does that look like? And some families are like, just do 9 to 5. So that's your responsibility as an au pair to be like, okay, this is what I can do with this time. And then take it back to them like, hey, do you like this? Do you not? Stuff like that. So ask about the routine and communication style. I had included on my profile that I am a communicator. But I was talking about a communicator from South Africa.
I'm glad that you understand that there's a difference. Communicator where?
I think they said husband, and they're like, oh, she communicates great. But I got here and I was like, oh, it's different.
Oh, they talk.
My communication was very different. So I know a lot of au pairs do say, like, I'm very patient, I communicate. Do talk about what communication looks like to you, and ask them, like, what does communication look like? Because I was like, oh, yo, talk. My host mom will ask me a question, I'll be like, okay. She'll be like, yes.
Waiting.
So yeah, and my last one, which I think is also the one of the most important questions that you can ask your family, is why. Like, why did you guys choose to go for an au pair instead of like nanny, daycare? You know, like it's a whole lot of other options they have that side, but they choose an au pair. Like, why? I feel like their answer to that question also helps you know if like this is the right family for you or not.
Can I add one to yours though?
Okay.
I think au pairs get to ask host families about the family dynamics and the marriage dynamics.
Yes.
Ask, right? Like, one, I don't think it's an offensive question. I think it's really fair to, you know, like, tell me about you and your spouse. How long have you guys been married? Like, what does, like, do you, you know, like, how do you guys work out conflict in front of the kids? All that stuff is really important. Because, y'all, you going to be in the house with these people, and no marriage is perfect. No family is perfect. I think it's really like important to be thoughtful about like the environment that you want to be around and like what you see in couples. So I don't think it's an offensive question to ask. All right, so mine, I kind of did my top 5. So this is questions and like things for host families to think about. So my first one was discipline. So Toomey already mentioned it. I think it's really important for host families to like discover what discipline methods a person is accustomed to, and then introduce them to whatever. So me and Toomey, we used to share like Instagram pages all the time, or like if there was like a cool article about like something that I resonate with in discipline, I would share it with her. And we did this for months before she would come, so she could get an understanding of like how I operated with my kids. This is one I want to be thoughtful in how I say this, but like I was very thoughtful about trying to understand how traveled she was, and or like if she had lived away from home before. I don't think this is a deal breaker though. I just think it's something worth talking about. Like I think it's something worth talking about so that you can know how to support your au pair if it's their very first time like away from home. Then you know how to support them. Like Toomey had gone away to school, so she was a little bit accustomed to like being away from her family. So we even talked about that, right? A little bit like, what does that transition look like for you, etc. Also ask about family dynamics. Ask about like, hey, did you grow up with your parents? And like, tell me about your family, and like who lives with you, and how often. Like, it's important to understand like what world do they live in and what world are they leaving and coming to you. I even talked to, like, I had talked to Toomey's mom. Did I talk to your sister?
Yeah.
I talked to
my two sisters.
Yeah, her mom, her sister. Like, I was asking her mom questions like, how am I going to know if Toomey is sad? Like, how do I know when she's happy? Like, just trying to get a sense, one, to see if there's some consistency. But also I think you get a sense of like who the family is, but also like who she is like within her family unit. Life goals. This was really important to me. And Toomey know how I'd be feeling about life goals. Like, I really wanted to know, like, okay, you're going to do this experience, then what? Then what are you going to do with your life? Like, how is this going to be adding to, like, how are you going to use this time wisely? And I asked this for a lot of different reasons. Like, one, I just didn't want someone coming to watch my kids and then just, like, laying around the house all the time. Because this is not who I am. That's not who my husband is. Like, we're both entrepreneurial. We're both, like, on the go all the time.
Me too. Now
she out here in these streets. But it was important that I understood, like, who are you and what do you want to do with yourself, right? Because also, like, I wanted to help her. So, like, when she was here, I wanted to make sure that I was connecting her with people, connecting her with experiences, showing her different stuff. But I can't do that if, like, you don't have any plans for yourself, right? And so au pairs, I think it's important, like, don't try to please host families with this answer just about their kids. And host families, like, it benefits you when your au pair has bigger goals than to care for your children. Like, it benefits you because they are motivated on the other side of taking care of your kids to, like, provide for their families or to do bigger things. And I think a part of the exchange experience is that we help them with that. Like, we're all very well resourced in many cases. And so, like, I've connected her with people, I've introduced her to different stuff. And so life goals is a really, really, really important one. Finally, this is the last one. Experience with kids. But I knew Tumi was lying to me when she would tell me about her experience. She was like,
I did have experience.
It was very minimal. She was like, yeah, I used to watch this kid from the time she was a baby. Tell me, how true was that actually?
No, but I did. But let me tell you, it was like watching them. I said I watched her. I was watching her.
Watching a baby. Here's what I think was more important though. So, like, yes, experience with kids is important, but I think you can try to send me some pictures or something of her, like, in a classroom, because she used to go and, like, substitute or something for
volunteer.
But she only started doing it like 2 days before she filled out her profile.
Yeah, I was like,
it was
not. So, I think also because I knew I'm not like a big fan of kids like that. I was like, let me prepare myself, you know.
So I have been in HR for almost 15 years. I can read through it. I was not fooled one bit. And I told her, I was like, girl.
What did I say?
What
did I say that made you feel like?
All of it. I could read through all of it. I was like, this girl ain't got no real experience with kids. She said, yeah, I volunteer at this school and I've been watching this baby next door. I was like, okay, so you haven't really watched kids. Got it. I was like, fine. Like, what do you do with the baby? Well, the baby is mostly asleep.
When I read that book.
But I was like, what are you talking about? But here is the thing. 2 things about this. One, what I cared more about was how she was going to show up here. So we spent a lot of time talking about, okay, what's your plan then for here? Like, if you were to come, what's your plan? And what I give you credit for is she was on Instagram, she was on Pinterest, she was finding out like what sensory activities means. You know, one of the little tests I gave her was to create like a schedule for the baby. Mm-hmm. And she created a schedule I liked. So I'm like, this is a very smart woman. Like, if she can create the schedule, she can follow the schedule, right? And so host families, like, don't get overly caught up if they don't have 500 years of experience with kids. Like, that's
because also the agency tells us we only need 200 hours of experience. And au pairs, I know, like, they say like 200 hours of experience, but they also say you're going to be working 45 hours a week. So you want to be prepared. Like, you want to be, don't just go off with, oh, I just need 200 hours of, you want to be prepared.
Because kids is a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a vibe. Which is all the more reason to make sure you and the parents make sense. Mm-hmm. Because I was so, like, there were times, y'all, where Tumi had my baby, right? And there were times where, like, she wanted to talk to her family back home. So she's created, like, the schedule around my baby's sleep schedule. But, like, I didn't mind that because for me, that's responsible. Make sure my baby good, then you can talk to your family back home, right? Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't think taking care of children is rocket science. But I think being thoughtful about my children's experience takes a level of thoughtfulness. And that's what I cared about more than I cared about how much experience she had. But this is also why the first week I didn't have her do any work. It was just get used to being around us, get used to being around the kids, get used to, like, seeing how they operated. That's why.
Although the first week was very different from.
Because Sage wasn't feeling well.
So when I got here, I was going to be working with just one baby. That was a baby at the time. She was
6 months.
6 months. She was 6 months. And while we were talking during our interview process, she was like, she's very sweet. She doesn't cry all the time. I was like, oh, great. It's going to be great. And then I get here. This baby cries. She was just crying.
To be fair, she's talking about the first day she was here.
Yes.
She did. And it was the first day, actually, that she had ever done that ever.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, my God.
He was so scared. Also, she was sick, so
she was sick. She had an ear infection, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she saw a doctor, and she was fine. I was like, whoa.
So it was like, she lied to me.
She doesn't cry.
But let me tell y'all, kids cry, y'all.
Yeah,
they cry. So there's that.
I'm gonna wrap it up for AUPAIRs, and you can wrap it up for those families.
Okay, thank you.
I want to say, like, just be thoughtful. I know a lot of us, I'm speaking for me, if your experience is different, good for you, but like,
Good for you.
I know for a lot of our peers, we are so desperate to leave our homes because for most of us, things is just not great, and like you just want to leave so bad. But I promise you, you want to leave and get here to a great family and have the best experience, because if you leave like the ghetto and you come here to the ghetto, like, what's the point? You know? And what that looks like preparing yourself is like, be honest on your profile. Like, if you can only take care of one child, just say that. Just say that.
Right, please don't lie and say 5 if you can't.
And I know we do talk in our pair groups, like, just match with the family, get here, and you will rematch. It's not as easy, y'all. Some people have to go back home because they couldn't find a family in rematch. So as much as we advise each other on like how we can just make it, you want to have the best experience. So like, take the time, even if it takes you for forever. It took me 2 years. It was COVID, but it took me a while to get here. So don't rush it. If you do rush it, just rush it with the truth, because it's gonna help you. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And you guys should interview with more than one family.
Yes,
Au
interview
pairs.
with more than one family, and don't
If
be
you
afraid
can.
to ask questions. Like, if you see something, just be like, hey, can you know,
say more about that.
Yeah.
So my wrap up for host families is to acknowledge that this experience is for sure for support for your family. Like, would I do it all over again? Absolutely, right? Like, to me, being here has been like so instrumental, like, in helping my kids, and my kids are obsessed with her. Like, they'll be the one person that she knows for the rest of their lives, right? But also, like, her being here has been good for just me and my husband, right? Like, having her here has been a blessing to us. And I think it was because we just found the right fit. We asked her, we took our time. Like, we weren't desperate. I mean, kind of was because of timing, but we weren't. Like, even when we matched with Toomey, it was months later that she would be able to come. And we could have.
Do you still want me?
Yeah, she's like, do you still want me to come? Like, we could have just found another match, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, no, we'll be patient and we'll be prayerful and things will be fine, because you have to do your research to find the right family. I mean, the right fit, but make sure that you see these au pairs as more than just help to you. Like, think about, like, how can I add meaning to this person's life? Because the truth is, when you care about who they are and what they want and what they need, they will take care of the precious little people that you care about. That's just how it works. You know what I mean? And like, even on days I think like Toomey is really tired or whatever, like, she actually likes the girls. She cares about them sometimes a little bit more than I do. I'd be like, girl, they fine, you know? And so she'd like jump across the room when one of them falls. I'm like, she's fine. It's fine. But I think that comes with like being being thoughtful of her, being careful of her. So have the right conversations. Don't just spend 500 hours talking about like what they can do for your kids. Mm-hmm. Like, spend a lot more time talking about who they are, what they want. And I think you'll see that the fit is just really, really good for you and your family.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming to my channel. Hope we can do this again soon.
We'll change clothes next time, maybe.
Yes, maybe we won't match next time. We don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. We hope this was really helpful to you, au pairs and host families. And if you guys have any other questions, comment down below, and hopefully we'll make a video about that too.
Bye.
Bye.